Welcome. Take a moment before we begin to let your body find the shape it wants to be in. Adjust the pillow. Loosen anything that feels tight. Let the covers fall the way they wish to fall. There's nothing you need to do here. Nothing to remember. Nothing to hold on to. If a thought drifts by, let it drift, the way a small paper boat drifts on a slow current, without needing to be caught, without needing to be understood. Tonight, we are going to a place that only exists when the water is calm. A little workshop over a warm estuary where the wind has already gone to bed and the tide is holding its breath and the light is the color of honey left too long in the jar. You do not need to picture everything at once. Just let the images arrive, one at a time, softly, the way lantern light spreads across a wall. Breathe in gently and let the breath out slowly without pushing it. Again, in and out. Let each exhale be a little longer than the one before it. Let your shoulders lower by the smallest amount. Let your jaw soften. Let your tongue rest against the roof of your mouth. There's nowhere you need to be. There's no hurry in this story. Nothing exciting is going to happen. That is a promise. Only quiet, small, patient things. Folding paper, warm tea, a cat rearranging itself on a stack of offcuts, a lantern set afloat on water, the color of pressed pewter. If your eyes are still open, you may let them close whenever they are ready. If they are already closed, let them settle a little deeper. You can listen to the words, or you can let the words wash past you like a slow ripple against a wooden piling. Both are the same in the end. Both lead to sleep. We will move slowly. We will linger. And when the story ends, so will you, carried down the same soft current as the shadow geese, out across the estuary, toward morning. Let us begin. You step through a low doorway, and the world you were in a moment ago closes gently behind you. The latch settles with a small wooden click, muffled by the felt strip glued along its edge. The air on the other side is a little cooler, a little damper, and it smells of cedar and old glue, of beeswax warmed by a candle somewhere out of sight, of barley tea steaming from a pot you have not yet seen. You are in a narrow room that seems to hang above water. The floorboards, pale with age, give slightly under your feet. Not enough to alarm you, only enough to remind you that below the boards there is an estuary, slow and glassy, moving under the pilings like a long thought. The shutters on the far wall are open, folded back against themselves. Through them, you can see the harbor exhaling its last boats, small, dark shapes drifting home on a tide that has almost stopped moving. The sky beyond is the color of a bruise that is healed, lavender, softening into gray, gray, softening into the faintest gold. You breathe in. The air here is a good air to breathe. It carries the estuary's low, glassy lapping against the pilings, a sound so soft you feel it more than hear it. It carries the papery whisper of creased rice paper somewhere in the room, being folded by careful hands. It carries the muted call of a harbor bell, far off, softened by fog. You take another breath, and you let it out. This is the Drowsy paper lantern Atelier. The name is painted in faded characters on a small wooden plank above the door, but you do not need to read it. You already know where you are. The workshop knows you too. It has been expecting you, in the patient way that quiet places expect quiet visitors. The room is long and low-ceilinged. beams of dark cedar cross overhead, and from them hang lanterns in various stages of becoming, some finished, some skeletal, some still only bamboo ribs waiting for their paper skin. They sway, just slightly, in the cool, damp air that moves through the open shutters. They turn on their strings the way sleeping birds turn on branches, without waking. Along one wall, a workbench runs the length of the room. It is scarred and stained and beautiful. Generations of small cuts and glue drips have made a map on its surface, and if you looked long enough, you could almost read it. But no one is asking you to read anything tonight. Along the other wall, low shelves hold folded stacks of rice paper in a dozen shades of cream and moth white. Little glass jars of rice paste. Sea sponges kept damp in a shallow ceramic dish. Small bundles of beeswax candles, no thicker than a finger. A tin of long matches. A ball of undyed twine that has begun, slowly, to unravel itself out of sheer old age. At the far end of the bench, seated on a low stool with her back to you, is the apprentice. Her name is Wren. She does not turn to see you. Not because she is unfriendly, but because she is inside the work, and turning would break the small thread of attention she is following. She knows you are here. You are welcome. That is enough. Wren wears a soft indigo apron over a soft gray tunic, and her sleeves are pushed up to the elbow. Her hands, when she lifts them, are the sort of hands the craft asks for. Soft-fingered, patient, slightly stained at the pads with old ink and older glue. Her hair is tied back with a strip of the same undyed twine that lives on the shelf, and a few strands have escaped, and she does not seem to mind. On the bench in front of her, laid out with the care of someone setting a small table for someone they love, are the pieces of tonight's work. A single square of rice paper, a bone folder polished smooth by years of thumbs, a ruler marked in old measurements no one uses anymore, a sea sponge in its shallow dish, a short stub of a beeswax candle waiting to be tested inside a prototype shell. And to the left of all this, sleeping in a slow puddle of himself on a stack of paper offcuts, is the master's old cat. He is the color of scorched cream, with one ear that has been folded down by some old adventure and never quite unfolded again. His breathing lifts and lowers the top offcut in a rhythm so steady you could set a clock by it, if clocks were the kind of thing this room paid attention to. They are not. You stand for a while in the doorway, letting your eyes adjust to the amber light. There is one lantern lit above the bench, no larger than a pear, and it casts its glow through a paper shell dyed the color of pale tea. The light bruises softly through the walls of the lantern and falls onto the workbench in a warm circle. Beyond the circle, the room fades into dimness. Beyond the dimness, through the open shutters, the last of the day is packing itself away over the water. There is a stool near the door, low, three-legged, with a cushion the color of moss. It has been left for you. You cross the floorboards softly, and you sit. The workshop settles around you, as if it had been holding a breath and can now let it out. Wren lifts the square of rice paper. She holds it up to the lantern's glow, and the light passes through it. And for a moment, the paper looks alive. A thin skin of possibility, ready to be told what to be. She turns it, examining the grain. She lowers it back to the bench. She has a commission tonight. A family who lives across the estuary has asked for a lantern. They want geese landing on a pond, not flying, not calling, landing. The moment when their wings have already begun to still, and their bellies have already begun to reach for the water, and their feet are extended, and the surface below is holding its breath to meet them. That moment, shadowed on the wall of their small house across the water, when they light the candle inside, it is a good commission. Wren has been thinking about it for 3 days. She has folded practice geese in her head while walking to the well. She has folded them in her head while eating breakfast. She has folded them in her head while lying in bed at night, listening to the estuary lap against the pilings under her floor. Now, at last, she is ready to fold them with her hands. She reaches for the sea sponge. She lifts it from its shallow dish. Water beads along its underside and drops back with the smallest possible sound. Plick, plick, into the dish. She squeezes the sponge gently until it is only damp, only breathing water, no longer holding it. She sets the sponge down. She takes the square of rice paper, and with the edge of the sea sponge, she begins to dampen a line where the first fold will be. The paper accepts the water the way dry earth accepts rain. Quietly, gratefully, changing color only slightly along the wetted line, Wren waits. She does not fold yet. She lets the water find its way into the fibers. She lets the paper decide when it is ready to bend. Outside, over the estuary, the last of the boats slides home. You can see it through the open shutters, a small, dark shape, and behind it, a longer, wider, dark shape that is its shadow on water. So still, the shadow seems more solid than the boat itself. They move together, boat and shadow, back toward the harbor mouth, back toward the small yellow windows of houses that have begun, one by one, to light themselves. The harbor bell, muffled by fog, tolls once, a single low note, the kind of note that does not ask anything of you. It simply says, I am here. The harbor is here. Nothing has changed. Wren does not lift her head at the bell. She has heard it every evening of her apprenticeship and every evening of her childhood before that, and she trusts it the way you trust the sound of your own heart beating without needing to acknowledge it. The paper is ready. She takes it between her thumb and forefinger, and she folds. It is a small sound, a whisper, the papery whisper of creased rice paper folding along a dampened line. If you were farther away, you would not hear it. But you are close, on your low stool by the door, and you hear it, and something in your chest unclenches a little. Wren runs the bone folder along the crease. Once, twice. The paper obeys. The crease sharpens, then softens, then settles into its new shape. She turns the paper. She reaches for the sponge again. You watch her work. She measures the next fold, not with the ruler, but with the width of her thumb. This is how her master taught her, and how her master's master taught him, and how the craft has always been passed along, from thumb to thumb, from breath to breath, from small, careful hand to small, careful hand. A thumb width is not an exact measurement. It is a human measurement. It changes slightly from person to person, and that is the point. Each shadow folder makes their own geese. Each family across each estuary sees a slightly different landing. She dampens the line. She waits. She folds. The bone folder passes along the crease. The paper accepts its new shape. She turns the paper. Time in the atelier is not measured in minutes. It is measured in folds, in tea sips, in the slow rise and fall of a sleeping cat's ribcage, in the tolling, once each hour, of the fog-muffled harbor bell. By the time Wren has made the first 6 folds, the sky outside the shutters has turned from lavender gray to slate. The little yellow windows across the water have multiplied, and they float on the estuary's dark surface as their own reflections, so that the far shore now looks like a double row of small, warm lights, one above the other, blurring at the edges where the water breathes. Wren pauses. She sets down the paper. She sets down the bone folder. She flexes her fingers, one at a time, gently. She reaches for the pot of barley tea. The pot is small and squat, and the color of river clay. It has sat on a low brazier at the end of the workbench all evening, warmed by embers that are almost, but not quite, asleep. Wren lifts the pot by its bamboo handle, and she pours a small cup, and the steam rises in a slow ribbon, and the smell of barley tea joins the smell of beeswax and cedar, and old glue and damp paper, and all of them together make the smell of the atelier, a smell you did not know before tonight, but that you feel already like something you might miss. She lifts the cup. She holds it between both hands for a long moment, warming her fingers. She blows softly across the surface of the tea. She sips. You can almost taste it from where you are sitting. Nutty. Toasty. A little sweet at the back, from the way barley remembers being a grain in a field. Warmth spreads through Wren's chest, and she closes her eyes for the length of one long breath, and then she opens them again. She looks from her stool across the workbench to the wall opposite. The wall opposite is where the shadows will fall when the time comes to test the lantern. It is a wall of pale plaster, smooth from long attention, and along its lower edge there are faint marks, the ghosts of previous shadows, previous tests, previous geese and cranes, and koi and children flying kites, all of whom have been folded here over the years and have flown, briefly, across this wall before being packed away and carried across the water to the families who commissioned them. The wall remembers, not with sharp edges, not with names, only with the softest darkening in the places where shadows have most often rested. It is a gentle kind of memory, a memory that does not press. Wren sets down her cup. She picks up the paper again. The next folds are more delicate. These are the folds that will make the first goose's wing. She dampens a smaller line with the very tip of the sea sponge. The wet silk touch of the sponge on the paper leaves a mark that will dry into invisibility. But for now, it glistens, and for now the paper is soft along that line. And now, she folds. The wing takes shape. It is not a wing yet. It is only a suggestion of a wing. A pleated ridge, a slight rise. But when the candle is lit inside, and the light passes through, and the shadow falls on the wall, then it will be a wing. Then the light will do the rest of the work. That is the secret of shadow folding. You do not have to make the thing. You only have to make the paper that will let the light make the thing. The old cat, on his stack of offcuts, sighs in his sleep. It is a long, slow sigh, the kind that seems to release a whole cat's worth of small worries at once. His paws twitch. He is dreaming, perhaps, of something small and warm that he does not need to catch, because it has already given itself to him. He settles deeper into the offcuts. The top offcut rises and falls with his breathing. Rises, falls, rises, falls, Wren folds a second wing, a third, a fourth. She is beginning to shape the small flock. Not many. 4 geese, perhaps 5. Enough to feel like a landing. Not so many that the shadow becomes crowded. The family across the water has a small wall. Wren has seen it once, when she was younger, and traveled with her master to deliver another lantern. The wall is above a low bed, and the bed has a quilt on it, the color of new grass, and the child who will sleep beneath the goose shadows likes to fall asleep watching the wall. Wren has been thinking about that child, gently, as she folds. Not too many geese, just enough. Outside, the wind has not returned. The tide has stopped. The estuary has become the kind of surface you could set a coin on and watch it float, glassy, complete, holding the whole sky in its face. The little yellow windows across the water reflect down and meet themselves. The single note of the harbor bell tolls again, and this time you count it more carefully. It is 1 hour later than it was, or perhaps 2, or perhaps only a few folds. Time here is loose. Time here does not mind. Wren picks up the prototype shell. This is not the final lantern. This is a smaller test shell she has been using all week to check how her folds behave in candlelight. It is a rough thing, a bit scuffed, patched in one corner where she pinched too hard once and had to mend the paper with rice paste. It has a small door at the bottom, hinged with a bit of the undyed twine, so that she can slip a candle in and out without unfolding the whole shell. She opens the door. She takes one of the little beeswax candles from the shelf. She lights it from the flame of the lantern above the bench. The candle catches, a small, low, honey-colored flame, no bigger than a berry. She sets it inside a shell on a small tin dish, and she closes the door. The shell glows, not brightly, softly. The candle glow bruises softly through the translucent walls, and the shell becomes, for a moment, a little warm creature standing on the bench, breathing light. Wren lifts it. She holds it up at arm's length, and she turns it slowly, so that the shadows it throws onto the plaster wall move across the wall like something waking. She has not yet placed the folded geese inside. She is only testing the shell, checking for stray creases, checking that the light comes through evenly, that no seam is casting a hard line where there should be softness. Watch on your low stool as the shadow moves. Notice how the edges are not sharp. Notice how they widen and soften as the flame settles, as the wax pools around the wick, as the candle finds its rhythm. At first, the shadow is nervous. Then it steadies. Then it becomes the shadow it was meant to be, patient, breathing, alive in the way that only shadows are alive, which is to say, borrowed from something else, but no less real for the borrowing. Wren nods to herself. The shell is good. She sets it down on the bench, careful not to disturb the flame inside, and she leaves it lit. It becomes another small source of amber light in the room. The 2 lanterns, the one above the bench and the little test shell, cast overlapping circles on the workbench, and where the circles overlap, the light is a little brighter, and where they do not, the light is a little dimmer, and Wren's hands move through both, in and out of gold. She returns to the folded paper. The first goose is nearly finished. She adjusts the angle of a wing with the bone folder. She dampens a tiny curve with a sponge and eases the paper into the suggestion of a lowered neck, a neck that is reaching forward toward the pond, toward the water it is about to touch. You breathe with her. You do not mean to, but you find that you are. as she lifts the paper. Out as she folds. In. Out. The Atelier breathes with her too. The lantern flames breathe. The estuary breathes. The cat on his offcuts breathes. Everything in the room has found the same slow tempo, and you are inside it now, and there is no reason to leave. The old cat wakes for a moment. Not fully. His folded ear lifts. One eye opens, considers the room, decides that the room is still the room, and closes again. He rearranges himself. A slow rearrangement, more of a settling than a moving, and his paws tuck a little closer, and his tail curls a little tighter around his hindquarters, and he begins to breathe again, deeper this time, deeper than before. The stack of offcuts beneath him shifts by the width of a fold. A single offcut, dislodged, drifts down from the stack and lands on the floorboards without a sound. Wren notices from the corner of her eye, but she does not stop working. The offcut will still be there when she is ready to sweep. The cat will still be there when she needs to move him. Nothing has been lost. Nothing has been broken. A single piece of paper has moved from one place to another. That is all. She finishes the first goose. She sets it aside on a small square of black felt she keeps for this purpose. Against the felt, the folded paper looks like something that has landed already. Its wings are half open. Its neck is reaching. It is caught in the moment between flying and being at rest. And that is exactly the moment the family across the water asked for. She begins the second goose. The second goose is easier than the first because her hands remember. The rice paper accepts the damp line more quickly. The folds sharpen more surely. The bone folder passes with a lighter touch. There is a rhythm now, a real rhythm, and she is inside it, and you are inside it, and the room is inside it, and even the estuary outside seems to have joined, its low, glassy lapping now matching almost the small, papery sounds of folding. Whisper, lap, whisper, lap, whisper, lap. You lean, without meaning to, against the wall behind your stool. The wall is cool. The floorboards beneath your feet are slightly warm from the brazier at the end of the bench. The air moving through the open shutters is cool and damp on the back of your neck. Warmth below, coolness above. Warmth below, coolness above. Your body is a small stove, and the atelier is arranging itself around your temperature, and there is nothing you need to adjust. The second goose is finished. Wren sets it on the felt beside the first. They look together like a pair of small, folded thoughts. She looks at them for a long moment. She adjusts one wing, very slightly, with the tip of the bone folder. She nods. 3, 4, perhaps 5. She reaches for another square of rice paper. She wets the first line with a sea sponge. She waits. The paper decides when it is ready. It is ready. She folds. The harbor bell tolls again. It is later now. You do not know how much later. You do not need to know. The little yellow windows across the water have begun, one by one, to go dark. Not all of them. Most of them. The families over there are going to bed. The children are being tucked. The kettles are being taken off the fires. The dogs are curling into their spots by the doors. The estuary is holding all of it, the going to bed of the whole far shore, and reflecting it back to itself in fainter and fainter yellow points. The child in the small house, the one with the quilt the color of new grass, is not yet asleep. The child is waiting. The child knows the lantern is coming tonight. The child has been told, when the shadows of the geese land on the wall above your bed, that is when you may close your eyes. The child is trying to be patient. The child is doing a very good job. Wren, though she cannot see the child, folds a little more slowly out of respect. The third goose takes shape. Its wings are farther down than the first two, closer to its body, almost tucked. This goose is landing later. This goose will be the last of the small flock to touch the water. Wren places it on the felt, at a small distance from the others, so that when the shadows fall on the wall, the child will see the landing as a sequence. First, second, third, the flock arriving in its own time, not all at once. She looks at the 3 geese on the felt. She thinks about a 4th. She thinks about a 5th. She decides on 4. 4 is the number. She does not know how she knows. She only knows. The craft has told her, quietly, in the way the craft tells its practitioners things, if they have been quiet long enough to hear. She begins the 4th goose. Somewhere in the room, from a beam overhead, a lantern turns on its string. It is one of the finished lanterns, waiting to be delivered someday, and inside it there is no candle, but the outer light catches its ribs, and it casts a slow turning shape onto the floorboards, and the shape rotates and rotates and rotates at the speed of the smallest breath of air from the open shutters. The 4th goose comes together. It is the smallest of the 4. It is the youngest, Wren thinks, though she does not say so aloud. Its wings are slightly higher, still catching air. It is a beat behind the others. It will land last. It will land last, and the child on the far shore will see it, and the child will understand, without being told, that even the youngest goose finds the pond. She sets it beside its siblings on the felt. She sits back. She looks at all 4 geese together. She lets out a long, slow breath. The work is halfway done. The geese are folded. Now they must be placed inside the lantern shell. Now the shell itself must be finished, its final panel closed, its top wired with a small handle for hanging, its bottom prepared for the candle. Now the whole thing must be tested. Now, when the water is at its stillest, the lantern must be carried out to the pier and set on a flat wooden tray and floated across to the far shore. But before all that, there's more tea. There's always more tea. Wren refills her small clay cup. She refills a second cup, though there is no one to drink it, and sets it on the corner of the bench as a matter of habit or company, or the old kindness that shadow folders have always shown to the room itself. The steam rises from both cups in slow ribbons that tangle above the bench and then dissolve and are gone and are only warmth now, only smell, only barley and quiet. She sips. She looks out through the open shutters. The far shore is almost all dark now. Only 2 or 3 little yellow windows remain. The estuary is a wide, dark mirror holding the last of them, and the mirror does not tremble, because the wind is still asleep, and the tide is still held. She sets down her cup. She turns to the lantern shell. The shell, the true shell, not the prototype, has been sitting on a stand at the far corner of the bench all evening, waiting. It is larger than the test shell, about the size of a small melon, and it is nearly finished. Its bamboo ribs are wrapped in rice paper, as pale as moth wings. 3 of its 4 panels are already closed. The 4th panel is open, like a small door, waiting for the geese to be placed inside. Wren lifts the first goose from the felt. She does not lift it with her fingers. She lifts it with a pair of long bamboo tweezers so as not to bruise the paper with the oil of her skin. She positions the goose inside the shell, near the top, its wings half open, its neck reaching. She adjusts. She adjusts again. She uses the tip of the tweezers to nudge one wing by the width of a thumbnail. She steps back. She looks. She nods. She lifts the second goose. She positions it a little below the first. She adjusts. She adjusts. She nods. The third, lower still, wings closer to the body, almost touching the imagined water. The fourth, the smallest, the youngest. Wren places it above the others, still catching the last of its flight, still a heartbeat behind. She looks at the 4 geese, arranged inside the shell. From the outside, they are only pale shapes against the pale paper, difficult to see. But she knows what they will do when the light comes on. She knows the shadow they will cast. She trusts them. She trusts herself. She trusts the craft. She closes the 4th panel. She seals its edge with a thin line of rice paste, applied with a small brush, no wider than an eyelash. She wipes the excess with a corner of the felt. She wires the top of the shell with a small, twisted loop of copper, a handle, so that the lantern can be lifted, so that it can be hung, so that it can be set on a wooden tray and floated across dark water. She prepares the bottom. She fits a small tin dish. She places a fresh beeswax candle, longer than the test candle, sturdier, into the dish. She checks the wick. She trims it with a tiny pair of scissors by the width of a hair. The lantern is ready. It only needs to be lit. But Wren does not light it yet. She sets it gently on the workbench. She sits back on her stool. She looks at it. Just looks. The way you look at a loaf you have just taken from the oven, with a kind of satisfied quiet, a kind of thank you offered to no one in particular, or to everyone, or to the work itself. The old cat, on his stack of offcuts, opens one eye. He sees the lantern. He seems to approve. He closes his eye. He goes back to sleep. Wren rises. Not quickly. Slowly. She unfolds herself from the stool with the same care she has used all evening. Her knees creak just slightly. Her back stretches. She reaches up with both arms and lengthens, and the lengthening is a small good thing after so many hours of folding. She crosses the room. She takes down, from a hook by the door, a light shawl the color of oatmeal. She wraps it around her shoulders. She pauses. She goes back to the bench. She lifts the finished lantern with both hands, cupping it as if it were a small, warm animal. She turns toward the shutters. Beyond the shutters, a short wooden pier extends over the estuary. It is narrow, no wider than 3 planks laid side by side, and it ends after only a few steps in a small square platform where a flat wooden tray is waiting. The tray is meant to hold the lantern for its float across. It is old and worn smooth, and the same shadow folders have used it for as long as anyone can remember. Wren steps to the shutters. She pauses at the threshold. She looks back once, at the workbench, at the 4 remaining candles on the shelf, at the little clay teapot, at the old cat on his offcuts. Everything is where it should be. Everything is waiting. She steps out onto the pier. The air is cooler outside. Not cold. Cool, in the way that the inside of a pantry is cool, or a stone wall on a summer evening. The estuary spreads before her, wide and dark and glassy, and above it, the sky has finally darkened all the way through, and stars are beginning to appear one by one, as if lit by a very patient hand. Wren walks the length of the pier. Her feet know the boards know her feet. There is no hurry. The tide is still held. The wind is still asleep. The estuary is holding its breath for her, and she knows this, and she does not waste it. She reaches the small platform. She kneels. She sets the lantern down on the wooden tray. She takes a long match from a small tin she has carried in her apron pocket. She strikes it gently against the tin. The match sparks, catches, steadies into a small orange flame. She holds the flame to the candle inside the lantern. The candle catches. She blows out the match. She waits. The lantern warms. The candle inside settles. The wax begins slowly to soften near the wick. The paper walls of the shell begin to glow. First faintly, then more surely, then fully, a warm, breathing, moth-wing glow, standing on its wooden tray in the middle of the small platform at the end of the pier over the estuary. And on the plaster wall behind her, the wall of the atelier seen through the open shutters, the shadows begin to arrive. 4 geese, landing. The first with its wings half open, its neck reaching. The second just behind. The third below, wings almost tucked, almost touching the imagined water. The fourth, the youngest, above the others, still catching air, still a heartbeat behind, still on its way down. They do not move, but they seem to move. The flame inside the lantern breathes, and the shadows breathe with it, widening, softening, widening, softening. The wings seem to lower by the smallest amount. The necks seem to extend by the smallest amount. The landing is happening, in shadow, on the wall, in a way that will never finish, because a shadow can hold a moment as long as its candle burns. Wren looks at the wall. Then she looks across the water. Far away, across the estuary, in one of the last small yellow windows, a shape moves. A silhouette. A child, perhaps, standing at a window, waiting. Wren cannot be certain. The distance is too great. But she raises one hand, slowly, in a small gesture that might be a wave, or might only be a stretch. She lowers it. She kneels again beside the wooden tray. She takes hold of the tray's edge with both hands. Gently, so gently, she pushes the tray forward, off the platform, into the water. The tray floats. The lantern floats with it. The candle glow steadies. The tray moves slowly, out from the pier, out onto the glassy surface of the estuary. It moves, as if the water itself is inviting it forward, as if the whole estuary, having held its breath all evening, is now exhaling, and its exhale is carrying the lantern gently across. Wren watches. From her kneeling place at the end of the pier, she watches the lantern move away from her. She watches the shadow geese, on their sealed walls of paper, continue their slow, shadowed landing. She watches the light of the candle grow smaller and smaller and smaller as the tray drifts farther out onto the pewter surface of the estuary. Somewhere on the far shore, a small child sees a yellow point of light appear on the water. The child does not know yet that it is the lantern. The child only sees a small, warm star sitting on the dark mirror of the estuary, coming toward the family's small pier. The child waits. The child has been very patient. The child is being rewarded now. The lantern will arrive when it arrives. The shadows will land on the wall above the bed when they land. Everything will happen in its time. Wren rises. She turns. She walks back down the pier toward the Atelier, toward the warm amber glow of the shutters. You are still on your low stool by the door. Your eyes may have closed by now. That is all right. You do not need to open them. The story is winding down, the way a lantern winds down when its candle has settled. Wren steps back inside. She closes the shutters halfway, not all the way. She likes to leave a slice of the outside coming in, a slice of cool, damp air, a slice of the estuary's slow lapping, a slice of the harbor bell, if it should toll again before she sleeps. She crosses the room. She picks up her small clay cup. She drinks the last of the barley tea. It is only warm now, not hot. It is still good. She sets the cup down. She looks at the workbench. The felt is empty. The paper offcuts are still under the cat. The sea sponge is back in its shallow dish. The bone folder is back beside the ruler. The tin of matches is back on the shelf. Everything has returned to where it was. The room is ready to receive tomorrow. She walks to the far corner of the atelier. There's a small, low bed there. You may not have noticed it earlier, tucked behind a folded screen. It is where Wren sleeps most nights, so that she can be near the work, so that she can be near the estuary, so that she can wake with the first pale wash of morning and know immediately where she is. She turns down the quilt. The quilt is soft. The pillow is soft. She removes her shawl. She folds it the way she folds everything, carefully at the seams. She lays it at the foot of the bed. She unties her hair. The strands come loose, and she runs her fingers through them once, twice, and they settle. She lies down. The old cat, without opening his eyes, rearranges himself once more on the offcuts. He is happy. He is warm. He is where he belongs. The last lantern above the bench begins, gradually, to dim. Its candle has burned down to the small pool of wax at its base. The light softens. The shadows on the walls soften with it. The whole room becomes a shade dimmer, and then another shade dimmer, and then another. Outside, across the estuary, the small, warm star of the lantern reaches the far shore. A pair of hands, patient hands, receives it from the water. The lantern is carried up a low path. It is carried through a small door. It is set on a shelf above a low bed, above a quilt the color of new grass. The shadows of 4 geese arrive on the wall, landing. The first, wings half open, neck reaching. The second, just behind. The third, below, wings almost tucked. The fourth, the youngest, still a heartbeat behind, still on its way down. The child watches. The child's eyes are heavy. The child's eyes are closing. The child has waited so patiently. The shadows widen and soften and widen and soften. The child lets the eyes fall the rest of the way shut. The child sleeps, and across the water in the atelier, Wren sleeps, and the old cat sleeps, and the estuary, holding all of it, holds it gently. You are still here, on your low stool by the door, or perhaps you are not on the stool anymore. Perhaps you are in your own bed, wherever your bed is, wherever your night is. Perhaps the atelier is very far away now. Perhaps it is very close. It does not matter. Both are the same. Both lead to sleep. Let the sounds fade. The papery whisper of creased rice paper, fading. The warm smell of beeswax and barley tea, fading. The estuary's low, glassy lapping, fading. The soft breathing of the old cat, fading. The muffled toll of the distant harbor bell, fading. Let the light fade. The amber glow of the lantern, fading. The last small yellow windows across the water, fading. The 4 shadow geese on the wall above the child's bed, softening, softening, softening. Let your breathing slow. In, out, in, out. Nothing to hold, nothing to carry, nothing to remember. Only warmth, only quiet, only the softest last light. The tide is held, the wind is asleep, the estuary is glass. The geese have landed, the lantern glows. You rest, you rest, you rest.